episode 3 of the Immersive Podcast. We had the pilot, and then we just shot another episode a couple days ago, and now here we are again. Today, Marco has chosen the topic. Do you want to tell everyone what we're talking about?
I've chosen the topic because I think we have been keep getting in this topic every time that we talk about ourselves. Just me and you, Jen.
Mm-hmm.
No? And it's the potential of VR. VR is a very interesting tool, and as immersive, we always fall into it. Always thinking about it and like how to use it in different ways, not necessarily just connected to the technology by itself, but also artistically.
Yeah, I mean, I have mixed feelings about VR, honestly. Whenever we use it, sometimes it feels as if it's rubbing against what immersive is trying to do, which is create an interactive experience. Sometimes when we use VR, I feel like it cuts people off from each other, and that's the only thing that I'm worried about. Like, as we go deeper and deeper into the development of the technology, I'm scared that it'll become more and more just exclusive to the person who has the goggles on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's the only reason. But I do see a lot of potential for helping people who haven't necessarily been helped. So one artist that we work with, the Glad Scientist, is doing interesting things with VR. He's attempting to make VR for the blind, which is super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to talk more about that project?
Well, I'm not, of course, the best person to talk about the project. Maybe we should have him on a podcast and talk about it. But I think the interesting stuff that he's doing is not necessarily taking the technology of virtual reality. So not necessarily taking the Oculus Rift or Oculus in general goggles or the HTC Vive and all the other
he kind of said fuck those big companies.
He's trying to make literally a virtual reality experience for the blind and how that would be done. So probably using all the other senses. Well, probably using all the other senses.
You would have to.
Using different sounds and stuff like that, and touching and feelings, physical feelings and stuff like that.
That's another good thing about VR is that they do have these add-ons that you can have. Like at TOA here in Berlin last year, they had one VR installation with Grover where you could wear the bodysuit, and the bodysuit kind of vibrated depending on where you were exploring in the environment. So that was kind of cool to see this body pack. I see a lot of potential with maybe combining the vibrations of the bodysuit and then with the immersive sound. That could be something that's kind of interesting. But again, you're cutting off from the environment.
The thing that I think is interesting about VR, it's that the more we are so interconnected with technology, the more we are developing a certain version of ourselves that just lives into the virtual world, right? So back in the days, there used to be Second Life or stuff like that, and now there are Second Life was this pretty much game, kind of like The Sims. It was a simulation of your life, but
I haven't heard of it.
On the web, and you would meet people there. You would make business happen. Like some people would find love. It was just like a platform.
Was this before or after The Sims?
I don't know necessarily, but in my mind it was before. Maybe we could check if it was before or after. But so the more we are getting connected to our technology, the more we are developing our virtual self. You know, the one that lives on Facebook, the one that lives on Instagram is completely different from the one that that you live in real life. You know, going groceries and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
So you're building your virtual avatar, your
mm,
virtual personality, which is kind of a neat opportunity because then you can build a new you, a new cyborg version of
mm,
yourself that maybe it has attributes that you yourself don't have in reality. Or you can practice simulating certain scenarios that would be too scary in real life,
mm.
like conversations, or I'm not sure if they have a virtual person in virtual reality where you can talk to and practice like public speaking or practice conversations or something. That could be cool.
Yeah, as much as your Instagram presence has a repercussion of on your physical life, even exercising on your speech in virtual reality or doing certain um, activities that you would never do in real life could definitely have some some usage
Yeah.
for your real life, and that's definitely the interesting part, because yes, the thing about virtual reality in the way that we made it now is that you literally put something in front of your face,
Mm-hmm.
and some speakers like next to your ears, and literally just be immersed in whatever it is your virtual self is. Well, at this time, the gaming industry definitely had all the made this revolution happen, but um, the revolution of VR, like,
Yeah.
but definitely already we came in contact with people that want to use it for commercial reasons and business reasons, to show you how your next house will be and how
Mm.
beautiful it is
On
when you are inside.
on that
And
note of these virtual experiences, I don't know if anyone has seen Darknet, but it's one of my favorite series on Netflix. Everyone should go take a look. They have one episode on VR, and they show an interesting use of it, which is reenacting. I already told you this, but
mm,
it's reenacting certain war situations for these veterans who have PTSD.
mm,
I'm not sure how the technology is working, but the therapist who is interesting to evolve what it means to be a therapist, because now this therapist is not sitting across a room from you asking you questions about your childhood or whatever. Now they're sitting behind a computer and reenacting and building these VR experiences for you. So this guy was building what this veteran was describing in real time with a fake, like, AK, I don't know what he was having for a gun, carrying this around in a VR headset and literally describing what he saw. Is like, okay, now I turned around and there were 10 dead bodies, there was an explosion, etc. And the therapist is building this experience in real time so that he can go through it again and have therapy and get over it.
mm,
And it said that it helped him 100%
mm,
because he was able to go back in time with quotes, and relive this experience and kind of see it again with conscious eyes. So that's another super interesting use that I saw, was to go back and relive traumas. So, say you had some abuse as a child. I don't know if you would want to go and relive that, but it could help. And then also this idea of building real time experiences. Like, I would love to see what the technology is on that.
mm,
How the hell did he build like these dead bodies
mm,
in zero point 0.0 seconds as the guy's describing it?
mm,
So maybe you could play around with that, like, I don't know, just describing to some facilitator of what you want to see. Like, if you're going down the rabbit hole, it's like, okay, now I want to see this dragon who's taking me away, you know, and you have someone who's building this real time VR experience. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's true. Nowadays, a lot of people, for example, use Unity or programs like this to build the experience, both on the 3D modeling level and the actual programming of the interactions. So I wonder if actually becomes as seamless as like you talking, some kind of voice recognition software understands what you're saying, and that translates it into some 3D, very quick and intuitive 3D modeling. And that will be probably the time where the connection between your physical self and your virtual self will be almost unrecognizable. Like they're the same. They're the same person. Is so seamless that the only difference that would make would be that in real life you don't necessarily control anything, but in your virtual self you control everything. It feels like lucid dreaming in a way that you're saying it. It's like, if for people who don't know what lucid dreaming is
when you're dreaming but you're semi-awake.
Yeah, you're conscious conscious that you're sleeping, and you're conscious that you're dreaming. And some people do have like the power of changing some of the things that happen in your dream. So for example, you can decide to fly or things like this.
It usually happens when you're just waking up, like that moment when your alarm clock is kind of ringing but you want to go back to sleep. That's when I experience it anyway. Or right before you fall asleep, you can kind of remember these like weird dreams and shit that you can control.
It is kind of a form of virtual reality as well, and is the headset is making almost sure that you can dream while you're awake.
Yeah,
that's why it probably feels a little bit scary for us, when especially for immersive arts, that it's making, we like participation, we like human contact, we like humans connecting each other in a space, but
physically
but
via technology.
And then yes, we do repurpose all these interactions and stuff like that on the web, but is just to make a virtual representation of that interaction,
of the physical interaction
forever, lives forever in the web.
I think the saving grace of virtual reality would be there's a thing where you can have conferences in VR with other people from around the world, and that's kind of interesting. The thing that will save VR from becoming too immersive will be that you can connect with other living people. Now, it'll be with avatars and whatnot. So you can argue that it's not really physical people that you're interacting with, but still, the day when they develop these AI human beings within VR who are responding very much like human beings and you can't tell the difference, then I think we're completely fucked. Because you'll go in, the environment looks real enough, you're interacting with people who are real enough, and then what? How do you distinguish between what's real and what's not? I mean, the technology isn't even all the way there yet, and still when I go into VR, sometimes when I come out, it's like, holy shit. I was really immersed in that experience, even though it was like very polygonal characters, and like even I've been in a white noise environment where it's literally all just white, and still that fucked me up. I mean, the technology is not even there yet, so who knows when it's going to be super good, how we'll be able to distinguish real from fake.
It is actually interesting what you said about the distances. So nowadays, if we have to talk, for example, if you have to talk with your parents in the US, now we are in Berlin, um, you would use like a phone call or things like that, or like a video chat. And that has some kind of, you know, uh,
Boundary.
it's a big boundary. You can only see a certain the thing that the camera on the other side is looking at. You can't move inside their space. Is literally just bound to whatever they want you
But
to
that
look
fact
at.
prompts me to take a plane trip and go see them because I don't want to face that boundary. Therefore, I'm having this whole experience of going on a plane with you and then going to see my parents versus just taking a VR headset and being like, well, there's no boundaries. Fuck it. I don't need to fly all the way to the US. You know?
Yeah,
It
but
makes me have real life experiences having that boundary.
yeah, I mean, now you're talking about it in a Earth environment. Could be that in the future the distances are so far away that that's the only way to talk to. Who knows? But I do see that kind of potential is very interesting. Actually, if you're it would be actually probably fun to be in control of some kind of avatar on the other side. I don't know, that will make your experience of talking with your parents exactly like you were there.
But then why would you use VR? I feel like AR, which is augmented reality for anyone who doesn't know, would be more suited for these things. I would be projected onto Mars or wherever we end up next. What is the benefit of something completely immersive
Well,
versus something that's not?
I think it's on that side is a little different, meaning that VR as as a bad or good point. I was like as a pro and as a pro, that you don't need necessarily your physical self. So that's why they recreate a virtual version, so you can talk with someone in Japan and you are here in Berlin. Okay. But with AR it's different because you are augmenting your life in Berlin. Like you're literally seeing things in in your real self here. It's not that you're projecting yourself on Mars. With that is VR, absolutely. But augmented reality, you would need to go to Mars and then see some dinosaur in your headset. You know what I mean?
No,
No?
I don't see the difference because if you go to Mars, there needs to be someone there to experience your AR self, I guess.
No, you are experiencing your own augmented reality. It's augmented reality. Like it augments your reality.
Yourself here, right?
Exactly.
So what would be the purpose of augmenting a fake reality, a virtual reality? What would be the purpose
that's virtual
of doing
reality,
that?
That's just what it is. Just already now you can make fantasy worlds in virtual reality without any big problem.
Yeah, I'm all for, like, I remember the day, it was in my freshman year of uni, and someone did a presentation on Oculus Rift before it was even like released. I think it was about to be released or something, and VR wasn't even a thing. And
for
like
the masses.
For the masses. And I just remember seeing the eyeball. And for anyone who is like me, anything with an eyeball signified the Illuminati.
Mm.
And as soon as I saw that, I was like, oh shit, here we go. Like, this shit's about to go down. But now, working in immersive and working with people who are using virtual reality, I see two paths for it. So I guess my consensus is, I think, like, I'm all for pushing it with video games and immersive experiences and art and these things of like pleasure. But because I feel like those things push the boundaries of what VR can do itself, especially the art, maybe not just the passive consumption that a video game brings out, but even video games, it's like, okay, let me push the boundaries of VR so I can make the coolest experiences. And then I think that trickles down to something more important with VR, which is what we were talking about earlier. All these like psychiatric and therapeutic and potentially groundbreaking things for people with handicaps, like blind, etc. So that's what I think virtual reality would be really good for, is all these therapeutic things and reliving experiences that you couldn't do. Because otherwise, if we get stuck with the consumption part, that's what I see like our demise sort of being.
Yeah, we don't have to forget that we are flesh and blood, that we are very bounded.
Or are we? That's the thing. Some people,
well,
the counter argument is that we're not our bodies. And sure, having this virtual reality would end life as we know it. Some people argue that's not a problem because, yeah, okay, our life as we know it will end. Maybe we're not attached to our physical bodies anymore, but maybe that's going to be liberating. And perhaps we can live in this virtual reality that's way nicer, better, you know, less war, less poverty, less hunger, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. Like all these physical things, like our old animal self would go away. And some people argue that that's like a good thing. And I don't know. Like, I really don't know.
Yeah,
it could be a wonderful thing. But all I know for sure is that life as we know it would end. And whether that's good or bad is up to you to decide.
Absolutely. Yeah. These are very future projections, of course. Like long term. Definitely I agree with the fact that in the shorter term we should just use it for a specific experience. So to do work with like immersive experiences, both in games, entertainment, or for treatments. But we shouldn't go on the path of, in a way, you know, how do you say
that we like overact excess,
that we replace ourselves. You know, is we should go on the path of making certain experiences feel as good as possible, but definitely not in a way that will completely replace our body. For that stuff, there are definitely way more interesting technologies that we can definitely talk about in the next episodes, which is augmented reality. Augmented reality is definitely a very interesting tool that has less dark outcomes in my opinion. We did go through some hard dark ways in this episode, but augmented reality could have some very groundbreaking and very real, very now, not 50, 100 years in the future, but very now present, um, you know,
Yeah. The
real
way I
stuff.
see it is that all this is going to happen anyway. People are not going to be able to help themselves, and they're going to build, especially gaming companies, are going to build these amazing experiences that people won't be able to help themselves for playing. I mean, as soon as they make a virtual reality that's like The Sims, that's like real life, I'm going to try that shit. I don't give a fuck.
Mm.
I'm going to try that shit, and I'm going to come out and be like, damn, that was real. And maybe I won't want to come back out. Who knows? Who knows? But the way I see it is going to happen anyway. And that's totally fine. And then you're going to have that side of the people who are pushing VR forward, and then you're going to have the people who are standing on the opposite side saying, well, that's like devilry, that's witchcraft, I'm never using that sort of technology. So you're going to have this counterweight, counterbalance. But what I want for immersive is to kind of be somewhere in the middle, because one of the things that art is really good for is opening people's eyes to certain things and illuminating certain realities, changing the perspective of things. Um, that's one of the best purposes for art. And as immersive arts, I think it's our job to illuminate both sides of the situation. So art gives us a pass to make some crazy shit. Like we can make a really scary experience and show how VR can be dangerous. We can also make a really beautiful experience and show how VR can like change your life for the better. Perhaps we can even like enlighten people in one of our experiences. But I want us to sort of be like the Black Mirror of the arts, of the digital arts. Like,
Explain.
Well, Black Mirror, for people who are living under a rock, are one of the best shows in my opinion on Netflix. It's kind of dystopian mindset of technology, but they do a good job in the beginning of showing how the technology is used for good. But usually at the end of the episodes, it has a turn for the worst. Um, but the reason I like Black Mirror in particular is because it illuminates what one outcome of the future could be if you push that piece of technology to the limit. And I want immersive to be that. It's to show people, not to warn people, but to just illuminate this one perspective of what VR could be, what AR could be, what is possible with these tools. And then if and when it happens, they'll be thinking of us like, damn, immersive arts was right. Just like we think, damn, Black Mirror was right all along. So I don't want us to be like have this dystopian mindset, because who knows, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad. But I just want us to push the boundaries of virtual reality and these other technologies. That's what art is good for, I think.
Wow, that's a good ending to our podcast. Third episode. Third episode. We finally did it. Um, yeah, we will come up with new episodes next time. Maybe video, maybe not. Who knows?
The world
We are
may never
winging it
know.
at this time. But thank you very much, everyone, for listening. If you're there, holla.
Holla! Let us
And
know what you think. Let us know what you want to hear. Let us know how we can improve. Let me know if my voice is too monotone, because I'm a little self conscious about that. But yeah, send in maybe some topics or some feedback, because this is numero tres.
yeah, some personal experiences. Who knows? Whatever the
Some
fuck
art,
you
some
want.
cool art projects that you guys are working on. That's always super fun, because, as you know, that's what we do. So if you have some amazing VR art experiences that you've seen or developed, definitely send us an email.
That's true. And yeah, go check our immersivearts.com for our website. And then you can find us on every social media. Not really. On Facebook and Instagram at Immersive Arts.
That's IMRSV Arts with an S.
Perfect. See you later, guys. Have fun.